Hey, welcome back to another Just 5 Mins. For this one, I've got Pocketbase. Okay, so this is in the realm of things, I don't know if you know or heard of, things like Firebase that Google put out, there's Supabase, there's quite a few other bases, and where they sort of differ from, I suppose, just a database, is that they're a little bit more rounded, if you like. They contain a little bit more things like they usually refer to these things as things like real-time database, where you can do subscribe to data changes, things like that. They've got authentication built in. I mean, Firebase has been around for a long time from Google, that had a lot of very clever stuff going on there. But Pocketbase is open source. It's not connected to any major organization. It is in sort of it's version 0.10 at the time of this recording, so it is in active development. It's not at version 1 yet, so I suppose you'd class it as it's certainly past an alpha, I think, but certainly beta. But why would you use it? Well, there's a link that I must admit I got sort of turned onto this from Fireship.io on YouTube. I'll put a link to his code report that actually covered this. So if you want a visual and a bit more sort of rapid fire, then I'll get the link in there so you can have a look at that as well. But the crux of it is that it's actually built on it's written in Go, so sorry, no Rust this week, and it's actually using SQLite, which at first people think, it's a noddy sort of database, but obviously it really isn't. And SQLite is in your mobile phone, for a guess. That's one thing, and it's everywhere. It's been around for a long time, actually, SQLite. So it is built on that. Now that begs the question, the way that it and I'm not being unfair to this, I don't think, when I say it's the, as Fireship.io, the guy from there said, it's the ultimate side hustle back end, really. I think it is, but it's maybe a little bit more to that, and it's not to put it in a toy box, essentially. That it is actually, it looks very, very solid, actually. But it's essentially, the big thing is it's ready to use out of the box. So it's got a real-time database. So it's using SQLite, but it's got a schema builder, data validations, and importantly, actually, real-time subscriptions. And a very easy REST API. And looking at it, there's a JavaScript example, a Dart example as well. But obviously, because it's written in Go, you could certainly extend this as part of a Go framework that you want to use. So you can actually, if you're a Go developer, you literally can get going really quickly. But yeah, you can also use it standalone. So one of the things is that it isn't. It's not a horizontal sort of scaling, and apparently it can scale very large, actually, but it can scale vertically. So it's, in other words, it's not across multiple servers, but you can scale vertically. So you can obviously just add more resources to it, which again, these days people are going, oh well, want it, to scale horizontally. Well, do you for everything, really? Probably not. So it's a real-time database, but also it has authentication built into it. So at the moment, it's got things like OAuth 2, based on things like Google, Facebook, GitHub, etc., GitLab. There's more coming soon. So it can handle all the authentication-y type of stuff. It's got file storage as well. so it can store locally or S3 storage. I'm sure there's other options coming. And as I mentioned, it is extendable. There's a lot of other features actually, but it also has a like a dashboard built in as well, so you can see what the database is doing, what the subscriptions are doing, what the user logins are doing, and all of that sort of stuff. So there's a lot of interesting things. But as an open source, and it's literally one file. I forgot to mention that you literally can drop it in on your server, and it's compatible with Linux, Windows, Mac from the Intel days, and the ARM64 stuff as well. So, but it's very lightweight, but I think it's really quite an interesting one to take a look at, because again, for a lot of things, until you're getting into, and we've all got delusions of grandeur, thinking we're going to build something that's, it's going to need, multi-server hosting and all this sort of stuff. Well, it may, but it may also be something that you need just for what I've mentioned in this podcast, really. So, but Pocketbase, definitely worth a check. So I'll put the links in below, and we'll catch you on the next one. So take care, and I might as well just add Happy New Year, and I hope you have a great 2023.